not dogs. But to an extent, people can also be conditioned. Humanity has been conditioned to love space and the globe. That's a fact. You have seen the globe and other space images thousands of times in your life. In addition to loving space and the globe, you have been programmed to scoff at even the mere mention of the flat earth through unrelenting, repeated conditioning since childhood in schooling, media, and entertainment. Although the narrative is changing from Columbus to ancient Greece, I was taught in elementary school that everyone knew Columbus was going to fall off the edge. But the smart Columbus knew better than the stupid flat earthers, and Columbus proved it was a globe. Even MTV's rebellious channel always started with the U.S. government's Apollo mission to the moon. How rebellious is that? The programming has been unrelenting and everywhere. Public schooling and the grading system were instrumental in creating your inflated globe ego and that conditioned response.
In October of 1929, Andrea again tried to focus the world's attention on the controversy by proving the notion the Earth spins to be absolute nonsense. It was reasoned that if a dirigible was to go aloft in England and hold itself perfectly static, then by the accepted theory the Earth should rotate underneath it and New York should come into view some 4 or 5 hours later. In fact, England was never lost from view. The dirigible eventually ran low on fuel and had to land. Andrea insisted she had made her point. But New York wasn't paying attention that day. The stock market crash monopolized the headlines then and for some time to come. Andrea had again been upstaged. By November of 1938, Andrea was prepared for her second attempt to reach the edge. A consortium of financiers were providing her with a plane and a large enough crew to make a legitimate go of it. And so, once again, an optimistic Andrea found herself in Antarctica. And once again, fate was against her. A freak spring blizzard took them by surprise. They were unable to leave base camp, much less make a trip to the edge. The entire expedition was very nearly wiped out. That was the last attempt Andrea made until 23 years later, when she set off alone by snowmobile in 1961. Until recently, that was the end of the story. Early this year, a researcher stationed in Antarctica to study weather patterns found a snowmobile partially buried in a snowbank. It had run out of fuel and there were no signs of Andrea anywhere. But he did find these, a camera and a note. The note says only, "I have been there. The debate finally comes to an end. Signed, Andrea B." It had survived the frozen elements for nearly 30 years. Unfortunately, the researcher inadvertently opened the camera, exposing the film inside. Any pictures were lost, and Miss Barnes' trip is still very much shrouded in mystery. There was no description of what she had seen or how far away it was. But if we are to believe the note, then Andrea Barnes was very likely the first person in history to visit the edge of the Earth.
Notice any curvature while we were up there? No. No? What did you see while we were up there?
This is the blue sky, white clouds.
Yeah, is it flat or?
Pretty flat.
Pretty flat?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I was reading a lot of stuff on the flat Earth.
Okay, yeah. True.
That's true?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, God bless, brother.
Did you notice any curvature while we were up there?
Curvature? No.
No? There's no curvature?
It's just all flat.
Tracy, how are you, mate? Pleased to meet you guys. There's no way this curvature. We're around the flat, aren't we?
Yeah.
We are, aren't we? Thank you.
Most pilots know their plane is flying over a plane. A stationary plane. Always a smooth and level Earth is flat and gorgeous, but they trick you to believe something else.
So my question is, how can you operate a lid on the outside of the space station by manipulating something mechanical on the inside of the space station without losing air pressure?
It's called real good engineering.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think would fly.
Engine arm is empty. Get the pro. 99, proceeded. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Right away, Houston.
No, I think I am a, what do they call it? I think they call it a flat earther.
You're gone now, will you call me back? Yeah, I know that, yeah, I know that. You're the traveling kind, it's a known fact.